Hello guys, and welcome to my second video, excluding my shorts. This video will explain why Gen 9 gaming is a disaster. This is basically the PS5 and the Xbox series of consoles, if you don't know what Gen 9 gaming is. With the highly anticipated release of the PS5 and the Xbox series of consoles, everyone was excited, the release being holiday season 2020. But little did we know, COVID was about to exist, which would have every effect on every industry imaginable. Cough cough, the global chip shortage. Since everyone was sitting and working at home, including developers, there was a massive surge in laptop, PCs and other electronic devices. This led to an international chip shortage. That meant that no one could get semiconductors that were needed to produce devices. I will expand on this later in the video. Fast forward to March 2020 when E3 was announced. When E3 was announced, they announced that E3 2020 was cancelled, which marked the first time in the event's entire existence that the event was cancelled. Game developers and partners were instructed to showcase their products in online form, which included online presentations and live streams and stuff like that. Both Xbox and PlayStation held their own events, which showcased their consoles, which is PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S. And they've also expanded on the upcoming consoles that were set to release later on throughout the year. At the Xbox showcase, games such as Fable, that still hasn't came out yet, a reboot of Forza Motorsport, Halo Infinite. On the other side of, at PlayStation Showcase, they announced Gran Turismo 7, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Horizon Forbidden West from Guerrilla. Both of these events were live and had around 2 million viewers combined when they were live. Fast forward to holiday 2020, when the Gen 9 consoles released, costing £450 or £250 for the Xbox Series X and S. The PS5 also costed £450 and £360 for the digital edition. Quickly after the pre-order window went live, millions of scalpers bought out the consoles, which meant they were being relisted at a higher price by the scalpers. And in addition to this, there was also a global chip shortage that prevented consoles being manufactured, which led to the consoles being out of stock for weeks. Remember when I talked about the games that were set to be announced earlier in this video? Well, most of them were set to release in the next 2 to 5 years, which means that there were almost no launch titles for these consoles, apart from Cyberpunk, which I know it released in the previous generation, but I'll just put it here because it did release on the current generation, which is Gen 9. But it was also meant for Gen 9 hardware as well, because the game could barely run on bloody Gen 8 hardware. When the game came out, it was riddled with ridiculous glitches like people disappearing, the map not loading properly, physics glitches, people not dying for some reason. There were so many glitches in that game at release that it was pulled back from the Xbox store and the PlayStation store. There was also another game called Halo Infinite that was supposed to launch with the Xbox Series consoles, but it got delayed to the end of 2021 due to it looking bad. Probably due to behind the scenes, Microsoft was hiring contract workers that couldn't work on the game longer than 18 months for some reason because of Microsoft. That meant that new people who were being hired in, they had to learn the entire game engine, which probably delayed the game's development even more. There were features completely missing from the game, like split screen, that was cancelled. Certain modes of the game was missing. And in my opinion, I felt like the game lasted 3 months and it just slowly started dying. Multiplayer was alright, I guess. Well, I guess that was enough to keep the game alive. I think they also had microtransactions or like a battle pass. Don't think that helped as well. Forza Motorsport released in October of 2023 and was a mess. The graphics looked worse than expected. There were massive glitches, poor progression, because the progression was just terrible. Also, there was other issues, and on PlayStation side, there was Concord and The Last of Us Online. The Last of Us Online was cancelled. Speaking of games, let's focus on the gaming industry. The cost to develop games is rapidly increasing due to the sheer scale of games and maybe inflation. For example, GTA 5, which released back in 2013, cost $265 million to make. And I think that also included marketing and the entire game's life, which took 5 years to produce, because development started in 2009. Fortnite, which released in 2017, that costed approximately $200 million and took 6 years to make. Well, that's an estimated cost. Death Stranding 2, which is set to release this year in June, which means in development for approximately 6 years, roughly. Even Forza Horizon, the game franchise that used to release every 2 years, up to the release of Forza Horizon 4. For Forza Horizon 5, it came out 3 years later, probably due to COVID or probably due to not wanting them to make games every 2 years now. Forza Horizon 6 is heavily rumoured to be released in the end of 2025 and maybe early to mid 2026, which means that it will be in development for 4 to 5 years, which means that it will probably be the longest development time in history for Forza Horizon game, probably due to Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty, which is a nice name, said that the average game now takes 4 to 5 years due to, this is his words, higher expectations and higher fidelity. And also higher budget games will probably take 5 plus years to develop now. The most anticipated game to release in history, which is GTA 6, is set to release in holiday 2024. Oh wait! The game got delayed to 2026. Damn, that's disappointing. Did we get trailer 2? Oh no, we didn't even get trailer 2 or even any screenshots. Thank you, Rockstar Games. That's really cool. Especially when we're waiting for like more than a year to get like another tease of the game now. Development for GTA 6 first started in 2014. The development cost of the game is reportedly $2 billion. And that budget is probably allocated to the game's marketing, the game's online, and probably the entire life of the game, which is probably like 15, maybe 10 to 15 years at this point, because GTA 6 still hasn't came out. This actually might make it one of the contenders to be one of the longest developing games in history. But there's always Elder Scrolls 6. After post-COVID, there were record-breaking gaming layoffs, especially in 2024 when 14,500 jobs were lost in the gaming industry. Some people say it's due to customer demands changing from COVID, which led to an increase in live service games, which some people like, some people don't. I personally think they're meh. I personally think they delay people off because they don't want their profit margins to go down, and because of greed. Even when they have more than enough money to sustain themselves on. I mean, look at Microsoft for example. I mean, they shut down multiple Bethesda studios, and one of them was responsible for Hi-Fi Rush, which was a pretty good Xbox game. Not really the Xbox game, but a Microsoft game. So you could theoretically say, even when a game does well, there is still a risk of a large conglomerate shutting down a game studio. Another studio that was shut down was responsible for Redfall, which I know it was a interesting game. Let's just say that it was very interesting. Arcane Studios, which was a live service game, which they never have done before. So the game obviously had problems. Even the company didn't even want to make the game, which is why the CEO left, as they were forced by Bethesda/Microsoft to make the game. I felt like Microsoft sort of let the game stay single player, or just gave the game more time to develop. So the company could have just allocated their already limited resources in optimizing the servers and the multiplayer and eliminating glitches. Or they should have gave them, the studio, another chance for another game in the future. Sony's not safe either. I mean, look at Concord. They spent $400 million on developing that game. They said it will be the future of PlayStation. Enough said. Oh wait, I had to tell about the EA layoffs. Damn it. Okay, the cost of games have definitely increased, and it definitely doesn't help that Nintendo is charging $80 to $90 on games for the Nintendo Switch 2, and £50 for a camera to use for in-game chat, where you would have to click a button to engage game chat. I was half joking, but you do have to pay to press to use the C button, because that costs money to press apparently, according to Nintendo. I feel like this will unfortunately set a new precedent where game developers will just charge $80 to $90 on games now because Nintendo did it. And I feel, it's not even I feel, it's like we recently just barely got used to paying £70 for games now, /$70. And that was like 3 years ago. And now we might have to pay $80 to $90 on games now. And this is without the tariffs recently imposed by a president who thinks climate change is fake. This will probably increase... Oh, wait. I just heard about Microsoft increasing the cost of their consoles by $100. And their accessories as well. Thanks, Microsoft. Like, everyone asked for this. Everyone, really. I'm being sarcastic. No one asked for this. I'm not really sure why Xbox is doing this. Okay, now let's take away into an interview if I actually do it. If I don't, something will come up.
It's definitely been interesting that Xbox has decided to increase the prices of their accessories and their consoles, but one could argue that the Game Pass negates these hurdles. The price of the Game Pass is relatively cheap, only being about £12 a month. You get access to a whole library of games. I know one game which is quite popular at the minute is GTA 6. The hype for that has been astounding, and it is expected to make 10 billion within the first 3 years, potentially making 20 billion, which would pull it far beyond any type of media ever produced, including GTA 5. But I wouldn't say it is as bad as Nintendo. Nintendo have been very bad when it comes to pricing their consoles. £80 for Mario Kart Wii, I believe, and pricing their consoles at £400 for the new Switch. I could be wrong on that. I'm not much of a Nintendo fanboy, but it's definitely been interesting to see the reception of GTA 6, and hopefully Microsoft, especially Xbox, are in a good position at the minute. PlayStation had the lead for a very long time. Had Xbox beating almost every category, but Xbox seems to be bouncing back. It has a lot of
good exclusives.
It has a lot of good Game Pass material. And overall, I feel like Microsoft has the edge when it comes to beating Sony at the minute. So it should be interesting to see where we go from here. And hey, well,
Jiggle physics don't lie.
So hopefully we'll see a lot more of them in the next year. Thank you for having me, Stefan. I appreciate being your guest.
Another thing that's quite interesting about Gen 9 gaming is the fixation on releasing remasters. Mainly Sony has been doing this. Like The Last of Us 2 Part 2 remastered. Keep in mind the original Part 2 game came out in 2020, the same year the PS5 release, which came out four months before the PS5 came out. The remastered Part 2 came out in 2024. Which is 4 years since the PS5 generation started, which is actually crazy. Death Stranding Remastered also came out on the PS5. Oblivion Remastered. Ghost of Tsushima Remastered. Oblivion Remastered. I will give that a pass because it's an old game. GTA 5 Remastered. The same for both consoles. The game came out 10 different times on 10 different console series and 10 different platforms, and etc. Well, I think these upgrades should be free if you previously owned the game on older consoles. I feel like gaming companies are doing this because newer games are so expensive to develop now. They have to get some more money out of people just so they can actually develop the games. But it's not all doom and gloom. There's some good games that come out on current generation consoles, such as Cyberpunk 2077, Spider-Man 2, the new Indiana Jones game, Baldur's Gate 3, and etc. Also, we still have GTA 6 to look for, which will come out some point in 2026. Hopefully that will save us. The future of gaming is somewhat looking uncertain, with rumours of PlayStation releasing the PS6 in 2027 or 2028 and the next Xbox releasing around 2027, if not earlier. They both aim to release portable gaming devices, which is the new market now, but for their consoles. There are also rumours circulating around Xbox for their next generation consoles, saying that they might put third-party app stores on the next generation Xbox. This will include the likes of Steam, Epic Games Store, and more. This is so you can play the same games and maybe some PlayStation games if Sony doesn't block them on the Xbox, next generation Xbox. This will mean you can play the same games as you would play on PC and other platforms. Xbox thinks that the entire market is moving multi-platform, which explains why they're doing that. Since the release of the Steam Deck, ROG Ally, more and more games are going cross-platform. If you can't beat the PC Master Race, join them. So the reason why I'm still using the Xbox One in 2025 is that I have multiple games to complete. A lot of games that have came out on current gen consoles aren't really enough to justify me buying a new console. Another reason is the prices, man. Like seriously, these prices are just crazy. Especially the recent news of Xbox increasing their consoles by $100. It's just honestly just stupid. I don't know why they're doing that. Like they don't even need to do that. They just want to do that because they just want to get more money. And maybe because of the tariffs. Not sure if it's because of the tariffs, but maybe because of the tariffs. They're still at MSRP. They are still at MSRP, and it's been like 5 years since they came out. And they are still like £450, maybe even more now because of Xbox increasing their prices. I looked in CEX and the prices were still high. Like seriously, consider how long these consoles have been out now. They've been out for like 5 years, and the prices are just still ridiculously high. Like they should be around like maybe 300 region by now. They've been out for like almost 5 years now. Almost 5 years. Maybe I'll upgrade when they released when we get a release date. Oh wait, we did get a release date for GTA 6. Maybe I'll upgrade when GTA 6 comes out on the 26th of May 2026 with an asterisk. Okay, that's all for the video now. If you enjoyed this video or found this video entertaining, don't forget to like and subscribe. But that's all I have for this video for now. See you guys later. Bye.